you would like, we are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. You'll see we're not in the normal studio today. We are coming to you live from the University of Mississippi, bringing awareness to the CAST program. That is a national curriculum that is being implemented in higher education institutions like Ole Miss, but across our state as well, that focuses on interdisciplinary collaboration. It's providing students with a foundation for identifying and responding to child abuse, which tough topic, but a lot of good things going on. And joining us out the gate today is Miss Jerry Dunn. She is assistant clinical professor at the University of Missouri in St. Louis, and she is one of the key parts and partners that help keep our CAST system going and up to date. So welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's good to have you here, and it's good to know that the CAST program has these partners all over that help for the continuing education, help with the training, and making sure all of the information within the program is up to date, which is definitely a good thing. But since we're kicking off here, when people ask you, Jerry, or about the CAST program, how do you kind of give them a roundabout elevator speech of what it is and how you fit into it?
Sure. So CAST for me really is about workforce development. And we always say that CAST is like putting the yeast in the dough instead of the icing on the cake. Always before, when we were talking about a workforce that was dealing with child abuse and neglect cases, this was always on-the-job training. Our higher education institutions really had very, very limited curriculum or options for folks who wanted to learn about this prior to moving into the field. So what CAST does is it offers those students and community members who really want to learn more about this, it really gives them an opportunity early on to just build a fund of knowledge first. There's a lot to learn about child abuse and neglect and all of the things that go along with it, to learn more about the systems that really work with these children and families, and really how to collaborate in those ways. And so they're building a fund of knowledge, but they're at the same time, they're able to build the skills necessary that are going to help them engage with these children and families in a meaningful way. And so putting this all together, it's a situation where we've got a generation of emerging professionals who have better skills, better knowledge, and have had the opportunity to practice those skills before they actually get out in the field. So altogether, it's a really nice package to offer to these emerging professionals.
You know, Jerry, all these years of bringing awareness to CAST, learning about it myself, bringing it here to Good Things, and sort of understanding the broader system to sort of help reduce child abuse or at least bring it to an end. I think everyone can agree that would be a good thing. I've never heard it put as sort of workforce development, and that, for whatever reason, today clicked. I get that because we've often talked about all different kind of professionals that could utilize the CAST program, right? From me as, I'm a clinical dietitian to, I'm in another life, but also to social workers or nurses or teachers, and all these different professions could potentially benefit from going through the program because we're all on the front lines when it comes to protecting children, and that's a set of skills that can all work together to kind of help combat that. So, I mean, a little light bulb went out there for me today, Miss Jerry. I mean, I knew it, right? But it was put into a way of, okay, because like you had mentioned, one of the beauties of CAST, which I'm learning, is you get the training beforehand, or like the real life training.
And, one of the issues that's really facing our workforce and as you said, it's very broad. The service sectors that really impact children, there's so very many of them. And we know that retention has been a real issue, particularly in things in industries like child welfare and child protection. And some of that is because our professionals are coming out of school not really understanding exactly what the field is like. And so CAS programs really offer them the chance not only to get their feet wet, but really to kind of jump into that river, and really immerse themselves in some of these learning experiences. They have the opportunity to do problem-based learning simulations. They have the opportunity to learn from and be mentored by professionals in the field. And so it's a really unique set of circumstances for a very broad sector of our workforce.
So, Jerry, talk about the intentionality that goes into the CAS program. When everyone who sits behind us either writes the curriculum or creates the modules or puts together the case studies that they will sort of go through, what kind of intentionality is being given to making sure that someone gets, the most realistic or the most real world, the most, hey, no, not hiding anything, this is what it will be like kind of experience if they go through the program?
Sure. So what we try to do, we develop a lot of the problem-based learning simulations that, quite frankly, Mississippi has just been a pioneer in. They have been a pioneering partner with us at University of Missouri St. Louis for going on, my goodness, I guess it's about 9 years now. And so they were a very early adopter and a very enthusiastic adopter of our problem-based learning simulations. And so when we build those simulations, what we are trying to do is, as you said, create as realistic as we can be without being actually real with the child. And so we really bank on a lot of our experience as child abuse professionals and thinking about the cases that we faced and the service systems that have impacted those families. And, fortunately, unfortunately, we all have in our back pocket some examples of times when the system really, really worked well for families, but we also have examples in our pocket of when the systems didn't work so well for families. And so we can in some ways create a scenario where we present it in such a way that the students have the opportunity to see the broad picture and really see where does their immediate instinct go, and then be able to take the simulations, the different characters in the simulations, and build them up in such a way that then they can react to how folks are engaging with the simulation. And so we rely on a lot of our case examples. We rely on the skills that we want. There's a couple of core ideas, pillars, if you will, that we really integrate into our simulations. And one is the core concepts of understanding childhood traumatic stress, which is a document that's made by the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. And then a document that we've created called TEARS, which is Trauma-Informed Experiential Reasoning Skills. And we take both of those. So we say when we're looking at simulations, there are things which are like the core concepts that we want students and learners to know, if you will. And these are the things you need to know. And then the tiers are things we want them to be able to do. And so the different simulations can have, and it depends, one of the nice things about CAS curriculum is that they're very flexible, and they can be adapted or modified to meet a certain instructor or a certain community's needs. And so they take they take the core. Each of the simulations has several core concepts that might be relevant for this particular child or this particular family or this particular type of child abuse or neglect. And then there's also, we build in scenarios that really highlight the opportunity to enhance or practice certain skills. Let's say, for instance, minimal facts interviewing. When a child makes a disclosure of sexual or potential sexual abuse, we really want to rely on our partners of the child advocacy centers throughout our states to really do the heavy-duty interviewing. But that being said, we still have to get some general information. So we create scenarios that allow the students to practice what we call a minimal facts interview, which is just getting the basics enough to go ahead and make that call to bring in the different partners for child protection and or law enforcement.
Well, Miss Jerry, it's a great partnership that they have with you guys there at Missouri St. Louis. I can't wait to see what you guys continue to do in the future. I appreciate your time here on Good Things.
Thank you so much.
All righty, you guys stick with us. We got more for you.